Another major international crossing, the Peace Bridge connecting Fort Erie, Ontario to Buffalo, New York, saw delays this weekend after a convoy of protesters blocked lanes on the highway leading to it. And an hour southeast of Ottawa, in Cornwall, Ontario, a convoy of tractors and other vehicles slowed traffic around the Seaway International Bridge crossing yesterday. The crossing in Emerson, Manitoba remains closed, with trucks, farm equipment, and other vehicles continuing to block the highway. The RCMP says no arrests have been made there. Across the country, police responses to the protest have not been exactly the same. It depends on where they're happening. Carolyn Dunn and Renee Filipponi are at two crossings where the border remains closed and the protests drag on.
I'm Carolyn Dunn near Milk River, Alberta, which is about 20 kilometers north of the Coutts border crossing. We are officially into the third week of the blockade at the border to Montana. Canadian Border Services have been suspended at Coutts this weekend, making it official what had been happening anyway. Traffic has simply not been able to cross in either direction. RCMP say they disabled 3 excavators to ensure they couldn't be used in the blockade. More than 50 tickets were issued yesterday, and officials say some protesters will find a ticket in the mailbox. But while there have been several arrests, none are directly related to the blockade. A lot of snowbirds, business travelers, and some trucks are using the very small Del Bonita border crossing about 60 kilometers away from here. But most of the 800 to 1,200 big commercial rigs, which would have used the Coutts border crossing, are having to reroute to 2 border crossings in Saskatchewan and 2 in British Columbia.
I'm Renee Filipponi at the Pacific Highway crossing in Surrey, British Columbia. Behind me is one of many RCMP blockades set up to stop protesters from getting access to Highway 15, which takes them right to the border crossing. Now, road closures have been expanded today, and there are officers from detachments from across the region who've been brought in to help. Now, to get around that, protests have parked along this road and are getting closer to the border on foot. Police have started to make arrests this afternoon, taking people into custody for mischief in an effort to make sure no one spends the night here. Now, the crowds grew this afternoon, much like they did yesterday, when thousands forced the closure of the border. It was a chaotic scene when a number of people broke through the police barricade with their vehicles and drove the wrong direction along that stretch of highway. Now, the protesters have been in the area for nearly a week, but it wasn't until this weekend that the border actually had to be shut. Now, the police say it's unclear when it will reopen.